23 SB 868. Conclusion. The committee recommends that the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria do approve its recommendations accordingly. The committee wishes to express its profound gratitude to the entire Senate for its usual support. Mr. President.
Any comments? Leader of the Senate, Committee of the Whole. Have you taken the two reports? You are supposed to take the two reports together, just like you presented.
The second report, Mr. President, dear colleagues, the Senate at its plenary on Wednesday, 16th December 2020, referred the above-mentioned bill to the committee for further legislative input. The bill was sponsored by Senator Rochas Okorocha and was read the first time on Wednesday, 22nd, Federal Management and Administration. Permit me, Mr. President, to go on to the recommendations of the report. The Senate Committee on Tertiary and Institutions and TED Fund, to which the bill was referred, having carefully considered same, hereby recommends as that the Senate establish the Federal University of Creative Arts and Studies, Ediato South, Imo State, and for other matters connected therewith, 2023 SB 454. Conclusion. The committee recommends that the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria do approve its recommendations accordingly. The committee wishes to express its profound gratitude to the entire Senate for its usual support. This is on behalf of the chairman of the Committee on Tertiary Institutions. I so move, Mr. President.
Any comments, distinguished colleagues? Leader, we can go into Committee of the Whole now.
Distinguished colleagues, I move that the Senate resolve into Committee of the Whole to consider the two reports.
The Minority Leader.
Yes, thank you, Excellency. I rise to second the motion that this Senate do now resolve into Committee of the Whole to consider this report. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. While establishment of institutions have clauses, distinguished colleagues, those in favor that clause 1 to 5 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 6, those in favor that clause 6 to 10 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 11, transfer of property on page 15. Those who are at clause 11 to 15 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those who are at clause 16 to 20 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those who are at clause 21 to 25 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those who are at clause 26 to 30 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor of the interpretation on page 36 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor of the short title on page 38 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor of the schedules 1, 2, and 3 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor of the explanatory memorandum on page 65, stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those in favor of the long title, stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. The second report. Those who are clause 1 to 5, stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 6 to 10, stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those who are clause 11 to 15, stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 16 is on page 26. Those who are clause 16 to 20, stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those who are clause 21 to 25, stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 26 is on page 39. Special provisions relating to pension of professors. Those who are clause 26 to 30, to 28, stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those in favor of the interpretation stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those in favor of the long title on page 1 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Leader of the Senate Plenary, please.
President, distinguished colleagues, I move that the Senate revert to plenary for the chair to report progress.
The Minority Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion that this Senate do now revert to plenary to report progress. I so second.
You are doing very well, Minority Leader. Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. The Senate, in the Committee of the Whole, considered the report of the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and Debt Fund on the Federal University of Technology, Sabon Birni, Sokoto State Establishment Bill 2023 and approved as follows. Long title as recommended, clause 1 to 30 as recommended, interpretation as recommended, short title as recommended, schedules as recommended, explanatory memorandum as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Thank you. The Senate, in the Committee of the Whole, also considered the report of the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and Debt Fund on the Federal University of Creative Arts and Studies, Idiato South, Imo State, Establishment Bill 2023, and approved as follows. Long title as recommended, clause 1 to 28 as recommended, interpretation as recommended, short title as recommended, schedules as recommended, explanatory memorandum as recommended. Is this also a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Thank you. Leader of the Senate, third reading.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I move that the two bills be read the third time. I so move.
The Minority Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion that these bills be now read a third time. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that these two bills now be read for the third time, say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Technology, Sabon Birni, Sokoto State, and for other matters connected therewith, 2023, third reading. Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Federal University of Creative Arts and Studies, Idato South, Imo State, and for other matters connected therewith, 2023, third reading.
Thank you. Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Technology, Sabon Birni, Sokoto State, and for other matters connected there with 2023 third reading taken, and the bill is passed. Congratulations, Leader. A bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Federal University of Creative Arts and Studies, Idiato South, Imo State, and for other matters connected there with 2023 third reading taken, and this bill is also passed. Congratulations to Senator Rochas Okorocha. The Senate Leader. Leader, you are supposed to. Which one is this? There are supposed to be 3 reports from her. Science and technology. So the 3 are there. Leader, go ahead now. Abi, you want?
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the 10th order of the day is the presentation and consideration of the report on the Committee on Science and Technology on the National Innovation Agency Bill 2023, SB 898. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was referred to the committee on Tuesday, 22nd February 2022. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Ekwunepe Uche Lillian, Chairman of the committee, to move the motion for the presentation and consideration of the report.
Distinguished Senator
Distinguished colleagues, the 11th order of the day is the presentation and consideration of the report on the Committee on Science and Technology on the Nigeria Atomic Energy Commission Act, Repeal and Enactment Bill 2023, SB 1074. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was referred to the committee on Wednesday, 7th December 2022. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Ekwunepe Uche Lillian, Chairman of the committee, to move the motion for the presentation and the consideration of the report. The next one. The 12th order of the day is the presentation and consideration of the report of the Committee on Science and Technology on the Nigerian Content and Programs, Contracts, Science, Engineering, Technology and Innovation, Establishment Bill 2023, SB 1085. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was referred to the committee on Wednesday, 22nd March 2023. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Ekwunepe Uche Lillian, Chairman of the committee, to move the motion for the presentation and consideration of the.
Very distinguished Senator Uche Lillian Ekwunepe Iyom, Anambra Central. She is from Anambra State.
Mr. President, thank you very much. Mr. President, I have the 3 reports and I would like to move them simultaneously. Mr. President, the first one is that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Committee on Science and Technology on the National Innovation Agency Establishment Bill 2023, SB 898. The second one is that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Committee on Science and Technology on the Nigeria Atomic Energy Commission Act, Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2023, SB 1074. And the last one is for the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Committee on Science and Technology on the Nigerian content in programs, contracts, science, engineering, technology and innovation, Establishment Bill 2023, SB 105. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, with your kind permission, may I lay the three reports before you.
Have you finished? All the three? No, but I need someone to second. Very distinguished Senator Jeff.
Thank you, Mr. President. Jeff. I represent Benue Northwest. I rise to second the motion for the submission of the three reports as ably moved by Senator Uche. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Committee on Science and Technology on the National Innovation Agency Establishment Bill 2023 and also on the Nigeria Atomic Energy Commission Act Repeal and Enactment Bill 2023 and also Nigerian Content in Programs, Contracts, Science, Engineering, Technology and Innovation Establishment Bill, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Chairman, you may lay the reports, please. You can present the reports, the three reports, one after the other.
Mr. President, thank you very much. The first one is the bill for an act to establish the National Innovation Agency and for related matters 2022 SB 898. Mr. President, the National Innovation Agency bill was read for the first time in this chamber on Tuesday, 25th January 2022. The bill seeks to establish the National Innovation Agency for the facilitation of development, improvements, promotion, coordination, exploitation, commercialization, and regulation of research outputs, discoveries, innovations, and inventions to entrench research and innovation in our economic system and for related matters. The Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, at its sitting on Tuesday, 22nd February 2022, read the bill for the second time and referred same to the Committee on Science and Technology for further legislative actions. Mr. President, let me go straight to the observations and recommendations. Mr. President, the objectives of the bill envisages to establish an agency of federal government that will coordinate innovation activities from the academia, industries, and to support innovative and entrepreneurship in Nigeria. The bill specifically intends to promote and develop platforms for training, capacity building, and mentoring science, technology, and innovation parks, promote and encourage environment for skill acquisition, self-reliance, and economic independence among our youths, actively promote and encourage the development and use of information system and information communication technology, promote and provide funding for new startups and students entrepreneurs on such terms and conditions as it deems fit for the purpose of encouraging enterprising youths while enhancing productivity and creating massive industrialization in our country. Mr. President, the recommendation. The Senate Committee on Science and Technology, having considered the bill, recommends as follows. Clauses 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, and 30 be retained, while clauses 2, 9, 28, and 29 to be amended. Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, the committee strongly recommends that the passage of this bill into law will provide a legal backing and regulatory framework for the establishment of the National Innovation Agency. Conclusively, Mr. President, the committee would like to thank the Senate President, the Deputy Senate President, the entire leadership of the Senate, and all the distinguished colleagues for the opportunity given to us to serve in this capacity. Mr. President, thank you. This is for the National Innovation Agency. I would like to have the second one. Mr. President, the second bill referred to the committee is the Nigerian Atomic Energy Commission Act, repeal and reenactment, Bill 2022, SB 1074. Mr. President, the Senate in its plenary sitting on Wednesday, 7 December 2022, deliberated on the general principles of the Nigeria Atomic Energy Commission Act, repeal and reenactment Bill 2022, SB 1074. After extensive deliberations, the bill was read for the second time and referred to the Senate Committee on Science Technology for further legislative action. The bill was read for the first time on the floor of the Senate on the Tuesday, 22nd November 2022. Mr. President, let me go straight to the objective of the bill. Mr. President, the objective of this bill, one, is to develop the ways and technical machinery for effectively exploit and harness atomic energy for peaceful applications for sustainable national development. Two, to build a world-class institution for the development and peaceful deployment of nuclear technology in all its ramifications for national development in conformity with international best practices. To develop a sustainable framework imbued with fundamental elements of high safety culture for the peaceful application of nuclear science and technology for the socio-economic development of Nigeria, and also to streamline, harmonize, promote, and coordinate research and development activities for capacity building and infrastructure development in nuclear technology, and equally to establish the Nigerian Nuclear Waste Management Company to manage issues relating to radioactive wastes, among others. Mr. President, let me go straight to recommendations. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Science and Technology, after extensive work on this, to which this bill was referred, consider the following: that the Senate do consider and pass the Nigeria Atomic Energy Commission Bill 2023 as amended. In conclusion, on behalf of the members of the Committee on Science, Technology, and Innovation, I wish to thank Mr. President, the Deputy Senate President, and the entire leadership of the Senate, and also express our appreciation to our colleagues for giving us this mandate to go through the bill. Was read for the first time on the floor of the Senate on the 20th December 2022. The bill seeks to entrench and promote Presidential Executive Order Number 5, signed by Mr. President, President Muhammad Buhari, in February 2018. For the avoidance of doubt, the order requires all ministries, departments, and agencies of government to engage indigenous professionals in planning, designs, and execution of national ahead of non-Nigerians in the award of contracts in the areas of science, engineering, technology and innovation in tandem with relevant laws. The objective of the bill, Mr. President, is to establish the National Council for Monitoring, Evaluation, and Implementation of the Presidential Executive Order Number 5 to promote technology development as a policy in Nigeria and to propagate the vital notes of science, technology, and innovation in national economic development, particularly in the areas of promoting goods made in Nigeria. It's also to ensure preference of Nigerian companies and firms in the award of contracts in our country in line with the Public Procurement Act to promote indigenous industries, and equally to establish the council that shall review from time to time and approve the minimum Nigeria content in any projects to be executed in Nigeria and to ensure compliance. Mr. President, we have a methodology that we used, but I'll go straight to our observations and recommendations. Mr. President, our findings: Nigeria contracting system, despite the reform initiatives introduced in 2007 through the enactment of the Public Procurement Act number 14 of 2007, has not been able to meet the yearnings and aspirations of Nigerians due to some inherent shortcomings in the Act. Stakeholders will review that the passage of this bill into law will create an enabling environment for relevant professional bodies to upskill their core competent areas and become competitive, thereby strengthening as well as endangering efficient contracting system in our country, leading to engagement of Nigerians. The proposed legislation is aimed at bridging the missing gaps in structuring the enablers as well as influencers of good contract system through development of implementation strategies for private sector participation in accordance with the planning and execution of projects, programs, and contract with science, engineering, technology, and innovation components, as well as collaborating with the Bureau of Public Procurement and non-government organizations. Mr. President, I will take you to recommendations. Having properly deliberated on the bill, Mr. President, and listened to all the stakeholders that attended the public hearing, we arrived at the conclusion that the Senate should pass this bill and consider said that the Senate do consider and pass the Nigerian content in programs, contracts, science, engineering, technology, and innovation in order to assist our local contractors and to ensure that our local made in Nigeria goods are of international standard. Mr. President, in conclusion, the Senate thanks you immensely and also the leadership of the Senate and our dear colleagues for giving us the opportunity to go through this report and lay the report before you for consideration. In all of that, Mr. President, on behalf of the committee, I sincerely appreciate the leadership of the Senate and the entire colleagues for finding us worthy of going through this and lay the report for consideration. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Any comments, Leader? Committee of the Whole, please.
Distinguished colleagues, I move that the Senate resolve into Committee of the Whole to consider the reports.
The Minority Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion that the Senate do resolve into Committee of the Whole to consider this report as so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate resolves into Committee of the Whole to consider the three reports say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. You didn't say anything. Huh? Is that a threat? Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of clause 1 to 5 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 6 is on page 5. Functions of the agency. We are on National Innovation Agency. Those who are at clause 6 to 10 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 11 is on page 9. Pension. Those who are at clause 11 to 15 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 16 on page 11. Annual estimates. Those who are at clause 16 to 20 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 21 is on page 14. Those who are at clause 21 to 25 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 26, power to make regulations. Those who are at clause 26 to 29 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Interpretation on page 16 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those who are at the short title stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those who are at the schedule stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those who are at the explanatory memorandum on page 21 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those who are at the long title on page 1 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. The second report, Nigeria Atomic Energy Commission. Distinguished colleagues, those who are at clause 1 to 10 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 11 is on page 14, service in the commission. Those who are at clause 11 to 20 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 21, annual report on page 20. Those in favor at clause 21 to 30 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those who are at clause 31 to 40 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those who are at clause 41 to 50 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 51 is on page 33. Duty to prevent nuclear damage. Those who are at clause 51 to 60 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those who are at clause 61 to 72 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those who are at the interpretation on page 42 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those who are at the short title stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those who are at the schedules 1 and 2 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those who are at the explanatory memorandum on page 51 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those who are at the long title on page 1 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. The third and last report, Nigeria content in programs, contracts, science, engineering, and innovation. Those who are at clause 1 to 5 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those who are at clause 6 to 10 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those who are at clause 11 to 15 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those who are at clause 16 to 20 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those who are at clause 21 to 25 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those who are at clause 26 to 34 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those who are at the interpretation stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those who are at the short title on page 38 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those who are at the schedules 1 and 2 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those who are at the explanatory memorandum on page 42 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those who are at the long title on page 1 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against any, the ayes have it. Leader of the Senate plenary.
Mr. Distinguished colleagues, I move that the Senate revert to plenary for the chair to report progress.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion that this Senate do now revert to plenary to report progress. I so second.
Those against any, the ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, the Senate in the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Committee on Science and Technology on the National Innovation Agency Establishment Bill 2023 and approved as follows. Long title as recommended, clause 1 to 29 as recommended, interpretation as recommended, short title as recommended, schedule as recommended, explanatory memorandum as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? The Senate in the Committee of the Whole also considered the report of the Committee on Science and Technology on the Nigeria Atomic Energy Commission Act Repeal and Enactment Bill 2023 and approved as follows. Long title as recommended, clause 1 to 72 as recommended, interpretation as recommended, short title as recommended, schedules 1 and 2 as recommended, explanatory memorandum as recommended. Is this also a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? The Senate in the Committee of the Whole also considered the report of the Committee on Science and Technology on the Nigeria Content in Programs, Contracts, Science, Engineering and Innovation Establishment Bill 2023 and approved as follows. Long title as recommended, clause 1 to 34 as recommended, interpretation as recommended, short title as recommended, schedules 1 and 2 as recommended, explanatory memorandum as recommended. Is this also a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Leader of the Senate, third reading.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I move that the three bills be read the third time. I so move.
The minority leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion that these two bills be now read the third time. I so second. Three bills, sorry.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that these three bills be now read the third time, say aye. Aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for now to establish the National Innovation Agency for the facilitation of development, improvements, promotion, coordination, exploitation, commercialization, and regulation of research outputs, discoveries, innovations, and inventions, to entrench research and innovation in our economic system, and for related matters 2023, third reading. Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for now to repeal the Nigeria Atomic Energy Commission Act, Cap N91, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and reenact the Nigerian Atomic Energy Act for the development and deployment of atomic energy for peaceful uses and the socio-economic development of Nigeria, and for related matters 2023, third reading. Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to establish the Nigerian content in programs, contracts, science, engineering, technology, and innovation, and for other related matters 2023, third.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to establish the National Innovation Agency for the facilitation of development, improvements, promotion, coordination, exploitation, commercialization, and regulation of research outputs, discoveries, innovations, and inventions to entrench research and innovation in our economic system and for related matters 2023, third reading taken, and the bill is passed. A bill for an act to repeal the Nigeria Atomic Energy Commission Act, Cap N91, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and reenact the Nigerian Atomic Energy Act for the development and deployment of atomic energy for peaceful uses and the socio-economic development of Nigeria and for related matters 2023, third reading taken, and this bill is also passed. A bill for an act to establish the Nigerian content in programs, contracts, science, engineering, technology and innovation, and for other related matters 2023, third reading taken, and this bill is also passed. Well done, Chair and your committee members. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the 13th order of the day is the presentation and consideration of the report of the Committee on Public Accounts on the Federal Audit Report Implementation and Enforcement Bill 2023, HB 1117. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was referred to the committee on Wednesday, 3rd May 2023. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Orugide Matthew, Chairman of the committee, to move the motion for presentation and consideration of the report.
Distinguished Senator Matthew Orugide, Edo South.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Senator Matthew Orugide. I represent Edo South Central District. Mr. President, my very distinguished colleagues, I rise to move that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Committee on Public Accounts on the Federal Audit Report Implementation and Enforcement Bill 2023, SB 1117. I so move, Mr. President.
Yes, distinguished Senator Ibrahim Hassan Hadeja, Jigawa Northeast.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Ibrahim Hassan Hadeja, Jigawa Northeast. Mr. President, I rise to second the motion that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Committee on Public Accounts on the Federal Audit Report Implementation and Enforcement Bill SB 1117 2023. I so second, Mr. President.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Committee on Public Accounts on the Federal Audit Report Implementation and Enforcement Bill 2023, SB 1117, say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Chairman, you may lead the report, please.